You're more than welcome to get a running start.
Today I am in Denver, Colorado at 5280's totally rad store. I've been to the shop a few times in the past. You might have even seen some of my previous episodes of toy hunting from this shop. But since I was vacationing in the area, I knew that I could not go home without making another stop at this store. Now the theming here is, well, exactly as the name of the store implies. It's themed in the 1980s. And there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. While it's mostly a toy store, there's also a wide assortment of clothing and novelty items, candy, even wax pack trading cards, really giving that 1980s vibe. And the toy selection is also mostly supposed to be from the 1980s. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean toys made in the 1980s, but things that have been made based on properties also from the 1980s. Of course, that rule is definitely going to bend because you're going to see things from lots of different decades in here, especially the 90s, because there's a lot of great toys from the 90s, and some of it, let's be honest, still skews very 80s feeling. But regardless, the theming in the store is amazing. It's nostalgia overload. Seriously, just walking through here, you just feel those warm fuzzies, and Christina and I both swear that this place smelled like bubblegum. So it's an amazing vibe and an incredible selection. In fact, let's start looking at the toys. But there's so much in here, where do I even start? I've always loved the way that they shelf their product in this particular store because the entire shop looks like a big toy collection. There's just these long shelves running the entire length of the store, and toys are just crammed into every available space. But there's some really good theming in here because all the toys are still usually grouped together with like items. For example, right off the bat, I see this amazing selection of pull string dolls based on some awesome pop culture icons. I'm talking about Ernest P. Worrell, Steve Urkel, there's a Billy Baloney here from Pee-wee's Playhouse, and oh man, even Ed Grimley is here. I have always really liked these pull string dolls, and I've contemplated collecting these many times over the years. I just don't really know where they would fit in with my collection and how I would display them, but I sure do love running into them, especially seeing all these boxed versions here. Super Soaker, man! Whoa!
Super Soaker Man, the robot with super soaker power.
Now that's a memory unlocked. I totally forgot Super Soaker Man even existed. He was released in 1993 as like a action figure version of the popular water guns. It's pretty bizarre when you think about it, but I specifically remember really wanting this and it being one of those things where my parents were like, you don't need that. So I never got him. Totally forgot he existed until this moment.
Oh.
Mr. Botine! Yes!
I just love the displays in here. I love seeing the various little collections of all these different toys and merchandise items from various pop culture, entertainment pieces, movies, TV shows, cartoons, whatever it is. And you're definitely gonna have a lot of those moments in the store where you're gonna either say, I had no idea that existed, or I totally forgot about that until just now. Ah, here we go, the TMNT section. You know I've got to check this out, and they've got a really great assortment here. Aside from a bunch of vintage loose figures, they've got a Technodrome playset, they've got a sewer layer playset. Hey, there's even some of the Mini Mutant micro playsets here. But the thing that is catching my eye is this Ninja Turtles calculator. I know, it's a weird item, but you guys know me and merchandise for some of my favorite brands. And if you've been following me for a long time, you might remember I bought one of these calculators a few years ago. It was totally based on the idea that I had that as a kid, and the nostalgia from it was so strong I couldn't pass it up. Well, the one I bought in the past was a Raphael one, and this one is a Leonardo one. So here I am again, like, wow, the nostalgia's really getting me. You gotta know that it's a Pixel Dan thing when the thing I care about the most is a calculator and not like the Technodrome and the sewer home and all that other stuff going on. All right, so I quickly stumble upon the Masters of the Universe section, and I've got to check these out as well. And while there's a decent assortment of action figures, my eyes immediately go straight to the back of the shelf, because back there is a Masters of the Universe record tote. Yup, it's the merchandise again. I want that record tote. That thing looks awesome. Oh, what is this tucked behind the Motu section? It's a Small Soldiers micro playset? I had no idea that they even made micro playsets for the Small Soldiers film. At least I don't remember seeing these. So that is pretty awesome to come by. It looks like all the figures were in a little baggie there with it. Really cool. And that's when I realized that I have now moved into a section with lots of micro playsets, including all of these amazing Polly Pocket sets, which, look, I've talked about this before. I think Polly Pockets are awesome. I just think the designs and all of those little elements that are worked into those playsets are just so cool and so fun. So I always love seeing the different sets while I'm out and about.
I don't remember it being beach themed, but it was this color.
You had one like that, but not that one?
But not that one.
So you'll always know what you
I actually really like the beach theme.
I was gonna say, I think mine was
pretty
just like
cool.
a normal house inside.
Oh, really?
Not a beach theme, but this is cool.
It was cool. And then I find these. I actually had no idea what these were, but I found them instantly intriguing. And a quick photo and Google image search led me to find out that they're from a line from the early 90s by Mattel called Horror Pets. Wow! I love when I discover something new that I either forgot about or had no idea even existed, and that alone is really like alluring to me. These are awesome, and it's like a brand new discovery for me. I see a handful of Food Fighters here, another one of my favorite toy lines of all time. They only have 2 figures, but it's Fat Frenchie, and he's the best one. But I do see 2 vehicles here with the Fry Chopper and the BBQ Bomber, and those are awesome because running into those is definitely few and far between. Oh, I love this assortment of wrestler Klingons. These are awesome. And as I'm looking through all these little dudes like clung on here, I noticed that one of them looks really familiar. He looks just like that Bolthard figure that I just bought on this trip recently. So now I think I need this Klingon to go with my other figure. Speaking of, there's quite a few pro wrestling action figures here, and you know I've always got to check out the Hasbros. Really good assortment here. There's several that I actually don't have in my collection. For some reason, the Giant Gonzalez specifically is standing out to me, just because, I mean, that makes such a weird toy, right? So I'm really looking at that. But also, aside from the Hasbros, there's a bunch of Remcos. I see a few bone crunching figures. Of course, there's a bunch of knockoffs here as well. So pretty great wrestling section. Oh geez, I always forget about these Ringmasters figures. The Playmates Toys WWF license churned out some really interesting wrestling toys. Oh, cool, a Monster in My Pocket section. I love these, and aside from seeing a couple of just the loose figures, there's a bunch of carded ones here, which is amazing, but also a Monster in My Pocket lunchbox, and a bunch of the trading card packs.
Anything cool over here?
Sweet secrets.
Uh-oh.
Oh, geez, here I am looking at sweet secrets again. I can't help it though. You know, it's kind of the same thing I talked about with Polly Pocket. These tiny little figures like this really intrigue me. And these are all carded. So like, it was really awesome seeing them in the package and just looking at the cross sells. And these specific ones are really neat because they all transform, but I love that these like turn into like toy themed like transformations. Except I'm not sure about this baby bottle that turns into a creepy clown. It says it turns into a jolly clown, but come on, you and I both see what's really going on there. Just like it's triggering some memory.
Triggering something, but I don't know why.
Interesting.
I don't remember the tail. But I want to say my sister had something like this.
These look familiar.
Right?
I don't know.
I just keep coming back to that going, oh, there's something about that.
Is that just the Fisher-Price logo?
That's a good idea.
Huh. Hey, there's one stone protector and a whole bunch of Troll Force figures. I'm really eyeing over those Troll Force figures because, come on, I've talked about those before as well. I love those weirdos. They're awesome. But the reality is, I have most of that line already, and I'm not seeing anything here specifically that I need to add to my collection, though I do love running in to Troll Force because they're so strange. But this is the 5.5 section, so we've got other 5.5 figures here, aside from the Motu and the wrestlers that we already saw. So in this section, I'm seeing some pretty cool stuff like this weirdo Rambo guy. But also, hey, here's Combo. He's wearing Beastman's armor, but still, that's awesome to see. Oh, and then this one. I love this one. This is from the Galaxy Fighters line. His name is Mace Ape. I love him. Now here is something special. Tycho's Bone Age.
Feel the power, hear the roar. Bone Age, where cavemen fight in dinosaurs, where T-Rex meets Tritops in earth-shaking battles.
Tritops convert to battle wagon. T-Rex convert to fly.
Bone Age, assemble monsters never seen before from the bones of these mighty dinosaurs. T-Rex and Tritops, each sold separately with a caveman. Feel the power of Bone Age.
You know, we talk about Dino Riders a lot. We run into those pretty occasionally, and you always hear people reminiscing about that line, but we don't talk about Bone Age enough. This is another pretty cool line in that same vein where they were all bone dinosaurs, but, you know, they could be rebuilt and turned into weird weapons. You don't see these hardly ever, and they've got T-Rex and Tritops here. You might also notice that there's like a little sign on there noting their fragility, and unfortunately that is the truth. I think that's why we don't run into these very often, but pretty awesome seeing these here today, and quite tempting, but I don't know if I really need to get into another line like that, do I? They're awesome though. So here's one lone D&D figure from the LJN line, which is awesome, and right next to that is a little dish filled with dice. Let's talk about dice for a minute, because I've probably even brought this up before. But, you know, I've only played tabletop games like Dungeons & Dragons a handful of times in my life. I would definitely like to do more of that, and I'm sure I will do more of that at some point. But even though I'm not like an avid tabletop gamer, there's something about dice that I've always thought were so cool. I love seeing the different colors, the different designs, the different styles, like the glitter. I don't know, they're very alluring to me. So when I look at stuff like this in stores, I'm always tempted to like grab one or two just because they look cool. And then I thought like, man, it's really cool how they have these with the D&D figures in the store. They might be onto something there. This is one of those places where you almost just feel overstimulated. There is so much to look at, and because the shelves are so packed, it's easy to miss out on cool stuff if you're not taking your time to study all of it. But it's a blast. I love the sense of not knowing what I'm gonna come across next. And then this.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I know.
He's
we
pricey
actually
though.
had the entire set, which was pretty amazing.
Really?
Slowly then kind of picked away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that invisible mic.
There's a bunch of beautiful, pristine, mint on card, vintage TMNT action figures here, several of which are from the Universal Monsters line. A lot of these I don't have in my collection. These are very expensive because, well, a lot of these have become pretty obscure and higher end at this point, especially that Invisible Mikey, which is one of the ones I want the most, but he is one of the more expensive ones. I also need that Metaluna Mutant Raphael, I need that Creature Leonardo, I need that Wolfman Leonardo. Man, these are amazing, and while I'm not typically a carded collector when it comes to vintage, I do splurge from time to time and buy cardeds of some of my favorite toys. And this is like the end of my vacation. I'm really feeling the urge here. I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna pick one of these out. Why not? Why not treat myself today? I'm gonna spend a little extra money. I'm going home with one of these turtles. So I know that I'm probably leaving with one of those turtles, but I feel like there's still so much left to look at in the store. Plus, I've been taking mental notes of all the things I'm interested in that I still might want to buy. So I think it's time to take another lap through the store, try to look over everything that I can just to make sure I don't miss out on anything. Give everything one more look.
You had these
I had these.
Kool-Aid Man cups. I think they color changed, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah. These are fun. I had the Alf doll.
Oh, I never had an Alf doll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
I did.
awesome. Rockstar Popple. That's so cool.
What is that?
It's one of the Beetlejuice toys. I can't figure it out. I don't know what she does. I can't figure it out.
Okay.
So I guess they're like little trays for like your drink and your food?
I guess. I don't know what else that little dip would be for.
Ah, Air Raiders. You saw me playing with these at the cold open of this video, but I feel the need to talk about them again because this is one of those lines that I only had a couple of these as a kid. I think maybe I had 2 of them, which would be like one. Now, was there 2 in a pack? I can't even remember how they came packaged, but I had a few of them as a kid. And it's one of those things where every time I run across them, they're usually like in bins or something, and you just find one, and I'm always like, oh, an Air Raider. And I buy one here, I buy one there, so I've got like a small collection of them at this point. But I think it's such a fun line, and I never had any of the playsets. I didn't even know the playsets existed as a kid. But every time I see Air Raiders, I just get that that little rush of like, wow, those were cool. I had a couple of those as a kid, and they're easy to grab 1 or 2 here and there. Probably gonna do that again today.
Air Carrier Justice on full alert. Skull Squadron, all pilots ready for takeoff. This is the ultimate battle for the skies.
All right, I think it's time to get out of here before I spend too much money. But seriously, I love 5280s. This is a shop where there's just so much nostalgia crammed onto these shelves that wrap around the entire store. I'm certain that you saw things in this video that I didn't even talk about because I just don't have time to talk about every single thing that's in here. But that's exactly why you need to get to this store. If you are ever in the Denver area, you need to hop on over and check out 5280s. And you know what to do if you're there. Make sure you tell them that Pixel Dan sent you. And with that, my friends, what did I pick up from 5280s? This was the last stop on my Colorado vacation, so here is my haul. First up, I grabbed that Masters of the Universe record tote. It features incredible artwork all the way around it, and now I just need to find the Masters of the Universe record player at the right price. I grabbed 2 of those ring fighters, both of which are bad guys, which I don't think I had any of those in my collection yet. I picked up that Galaxy Fighters Mace Ape. Seriously, just look at that face. I love that face. I also grabbed that little Baltard clip-on to go with the figure I bought earlier in this trip. I love you, Dada. I grabbed one of those horror pets. The outer shell almost has a xenomorph look to it. It's a great sculpt. And opening it up, you see a little bee dude. Though looking these up online, I'm not sure this particular bug goes with this shell, but regardless, I love this. It's really cool. It's a fun new toy that I discovered. And hey, the bugs are pullbacks. Like you put them on the ground and you pull them back and they zip all over the place. They're really cool. You know what? I picked up a few of those dice because I thought it might be fun to pick up some different colors and use them in a display with my Dungeons & Dragons action figures. And then, for my big splurge, which one did I get? I chose the Universal Studios Wolfman Leonardo. He was one of the cheaper ones in this assortment, but, you know, still pricey, and one that I didn't have in my collection. I wish I really could have splurged and gone for something like Invisible Mikey, but $700 for one figure, not really in the budget right now, but I'm very happy with this Wolfman. So glad to bring home something like this to add to my collection. Seriously, 5280s was an amazing shop. I had such a good time touring Colorado, where I saw so many cool stores, of course, along with some beautiful scenery. Colorado is a beautiful state, and I will definitely be visiting again sometime in the future. Thank you guys all so very much for watching this episode. I really appreciate you tuning in every weekend for these episodes of Toy Hunting. I love getting out there and just exploring and finding shops, and also letting you guys know about these shops. I've actually had several shop owners tell me that my videos have brought a bunch of people to their store, and I love that. So please, let me know if there's stores that you want to visit. I'm always keeping an eye on that. I'm always keeping a list, and when I'm traveling, I love to hit these places up. You guys are amazing. Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Thank you to all of you who are commenting, liking, and hitting that subscribe button. You guys are amazing. Happy hunting, my friends. And until next time.